Hey guys, it's Obi. Time for the Obi Sports Talk Show. I know you're all excited. Got a lot to cover on today's show. First off, we're going to just apologize for not having a show last week. Just so much stuff going on with Christmas and everything. I hope everybody had a good Christmas. We're just going to jump in right into our NFL predictions of the week. Giants and the Cowboys face off for the NFC East division. Winner goes to playoffs. The losers, well, better luck next year. I'm going to take the Giants over the Cowboys 19-13. I just think the Giants are a little too much. Don't think there'll be a whole lot of scoring, but I think both teams are just going to be fighting. But I think in the end, the Giants are going to come out on top 19-13. The San Francisco 49ers take on the Rams. And it comes in an interesting scenario between the 49ers and the Saints. If they both have an opportunity to get number 2 seed, but they both need to 49ers need to win and they get it. Saints need to win and they need San Francisco to lose to the Rams. Don't see much of that happen really, as I got the 49ers winning 23-10 over the St. Louis Rams. And then I have New Orleans Saints winning 38-30 over Carolina. I think Carolina is a tough team and they might give Saints a little bit of a fit, but I think in the long run Saints are going to come out on top. Pittsburgh against Cleveland. It's a home game for Cleveland. I guess if you're going to win one more game, well, assume it's your last game of the season. If you're going to have finished with 5 wins, who better to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are looking for Baltimore to lose to Cincinnati so they can get the number 1 seed, even though they lost twice to Baltimore in the regular season. I almost picked Cleveland in this game because Pittsburgh might just be thinking, let's just rest our guys and not worry about too much, but I don't think they will. And I think Pittsburgh's going to win 30-17 over Cleveland Browns, and the Browns will finish 4-9 on the season, or whatever. We only get 4 wins, so however that works out. Baltimore, I think, is going to stumble against Cincinnati, and Cincinnati's going to win 27-24, and Cincinnati's going to get it. Baltimore's going to lose, but I think Baltimore still will get the number 1, get the next best seed over Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati will sneak into the playoffs, climb their way and get their big win of the season. And it'll be 3 teams for the AFC North in the playoffs: Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Cincinnati. Tennessee plays Houston in a game where Houston maybe is still trying to find their identity, and I just don't see them finding it again this week. Maybe when the playoffs get going, they will also figure stuff out. Maybe they can a little bit escape, but I think they're coming up short. And as they lose 27-16 to the Tennessee Titans. Seattle Seahawks will take on Arizona, and pretty much their playoff hopes are gone. But I think Seattle's still going to respond well, and they're starting to kind of put together. And with Marshawn Lynch, how can you pick against Seattle right now? And I picked them to win 31-20. So that's my football picks of the week. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think. If you disagree or agree, I'd like to hear your input on who you think will win between the Cowboys and the Giants, and Pittsburgh and Baltimore. You know, will Pittsburgh win over Cleveland or Baltimore, and will Baltimore beat out Cincinnati, or Cincinnati find their way into the playoffs? That's all those picks I have for that. We're gonna jump in some MLB news here, and a little bit of time we got here, and maybe talk a little bit more about some other things going on. Carlos Beltran signs with the St. Louis Cardinals. They picked him up hoping that he can maybe put a little bit of a punch that they lost from Albert Pujols. Not sure if he could pick up a whole lot by himself. They might need to add some more offense as well. Prince Fielder, still no teams have even made him an offer, and the question becomes, where's the Prince Fielder? Where's Prince land? The possible teams of right now are Baltimore Orioles, Seattle Mariners, Washington Nationals, Blue Jays, and the Cubs, along with the Cubs and the Rangers. So really, it's hard to say where you're going to go at this point. I think it's really going to come down to either the Seattle Mariners or the Chicago Cubs. I think the Cubs are trying to figure out a way they can get them by moving certain players, stuff like that. So I say it's either Seattle or the Cubs, but I'd like to hear your input. Mark Trumbo, who plays for the Anaheim Angels. Los Angeles of Anaheim, or whatever they're called, the Angels. With our Pujols there now, there's talks of Mark Trumbo maybe being dealt, and so the possible teams right now are the Indians, Rays, Brewers, and the A's. But it really might become to who's going to give up the most for it, because they're probably going to want a lot for Mark Trumbo. And it seems like the Indians and the Rays might be two of the teams to be like, yeah, that's too much giving up, because they got a lot of young talent. So Milwaukee and Oakland could be maybe good fits for them, but I don't think they would trade within the division. So I don't think Oakland A's are a legitimate shot, so probably the Milwaukee Brewers. The Washington Nationals signed Mark DeRosa to help them a little bit. He could play multiple positions, and he's got a pretty decent bat. So we'll see where. So we'll see where happens there with Mark DeRosa, what kind of things he can bring to the table. The Cleveland Indians signed Andy LaRoche and Jose Lopez to maybe add some depth to their infield. That was one of the weaknesses they thought they had at certain positions, especially when they gave guys like Struble days off and Kipnis, and they had a little bit of struggle at third base this year trying to find somebody to fill that void there. So maybe they're looking at Andy LaRoche and Jose Lopez who possibly get at least an invite to spring training. So we'll see what happens there. They also made a trade for Aaron Cunningham as outfield depth. Not sure how much that's going to play out. Maybe that's just something for the future and kind of thing. So we'll see how that plays out. The NBA season has begun, and to be honest, I still don't really care much about the NBA. But the Cavs, they still have a lot of young talent, and it actually becomes the fact is how quick is this young talent going to develop? Is it going to be this year? Are we going to start seeing a little bit more of improvement? I'm not so sure. I think it could be another bad season for them, and maybe another high draft pick where they possibly could get another centerpiece to help build this franchise team. You know, they've got money to spend, but people just don't want to come to Cleveland right now, which is understanding. We brought back Anthony Parker. You know, we still got Antoine Jameson, Varejao, Caspi. We got him in a trade, and the young point guard Kyle Irving. We'll see what kind of things happen there. Ramon Sessions. There's a lot of young talent on this team, and they might fight to finish better than they did last year, but I just don't see it. I think it's going to be a lot of the repeat of last year's season, which was a utter mess. On to some Ohio State news and a couple predictions here and there. Ohio State will take on the Florida Gators next week. I think it's like on January 2nd or January 1st or something. I'm not even sure. I don't remember. But they will take on the Florida Gators in the Gator Bowl. As far as I'm concerned, we could call it the Charbon Toilet Bowl, because that's where both these teams should be. And this will be the last time Ohio State will not play a bowl game next year, because they got the bowl ban from all their sanctions from Jim Tressel, Terrell Pryor, Javar Posey, and all that stuff that went down at the end of last year's season, and the stuff that happened throughout this year. So they're not going to have a bowl game next year. So the seniors, I think, on this team are going to go without a bang, and some of the juniors who will probably leave, probably play their final game. And I think right here, I think I see the Ohio State Buckeyes coming out on top, 34-23. Not saying we're going to score a lot of points on offense. I think we'll see some special teams points, touchdowns, maybe a couple defensive touchdowns, as they'll take out the Florida Gators, who are just in much of a worse mess than we are at this point. The Ohio State men's basketball team opens up with Big Ten play today as they make their run into the Big Ten, as they'll start playing Big Ten teams from here on out. They only have one loss on the season. We know that was against Kansas. In the game, we didn't have Jared Sullinger. So one makes you wonder, where will we be then? We're still ranked number 2 in the country, behind Syracuse Orangemen, who are number 1. And the Big Ten is pretty tough again this year, and I think the Buckeyes will win the Big Ten, and I think they'll come through and win the Big Ten tournament this year. They just got a lot more. I think they might not be very deep in the bench, and maybe that's where they'll get hurt a little bit throughout the season, is with the bench play, if their starters getting foul trouble and stuff like that. But I really think it will. The Ohio State Buckeyes will win the Big Ten, and that's all I got for you today on this sports talk show. And I hope that you enjoyed the show. As always, thank you for listening to the OBee Sports Talk Show. Peace out, guys.